How are we doing today, everybody? It's Watch Display here, and thank you for joining me. If you like my videos, please give me a subscribe and a like, and please give me a follow on Instagram at Watch Display if you like looking at watches and watch photography. So today I am wearing a vintage 70s Cartier tank. It's a very rare reference of this model that was only made for a few years. I do have another video on this watch, so give it a check out. But today I want to talk about polishing and not polishing. And sorry about my nasty looking hands. I was hitting a heavy bag the other day and forgot my gloves, and I was all the way at the gym and didn't want to go all the way back, so I ended up tearing my knuckles up a little bit. But that's a different story. But we have some watches here, and this is the Tudor Black Bay 58, just so you know. And this is my 16618 gold bluesy vintage tritium sub. So do we polish our watches or not polish our watches? And the way I think of it is there's two different types of people. There's the retail market person, and then there's the collector or the purist. And then there's some gray area in between where those kind of merge together. I'd say I'm more towards the collector side, but I'm also a flipper, so I get a lot of watches all the time and play around with a lot of watches. So to me, it depends on the watch. I had a video where I talked about the two Submariners. I think I had the 5-digit no date sub tritium on there with the tropical insert in this gold sub, and that one had been refinished. The stainless steel variant was refinished, and of course my gold sub is completely unpolished, never polished. So for that sub, I bought that sub already polished. To me, it looked good. That had original chambers. I think it was done by LA Watchworks, so they do a very good job, one of the best in the business, especially in recutting chambers and making it to original spec. It looked good to me. It was a $8,000 sub, so to me, having it look new when I got it was good, and it still had the chambers, which is a very important factor for me. I hate when the lugs are all rounded over. So there's that. And then there's this. So we're talking about $20,000 plus, and you're going to see these. Can see these listed anywhere from like 17 and a half up to like 25, 27,000. Some of these get almost to the price of the 6-digit sub, especially these variants where they're tritium and they're getting more rare and they're getting prettier dials. Like this one, the dial, you're not going to see it in the video, but the dial actually turns purple in direct sunlight, and all the markers are turning that very custard patina. I didn't want this watch refinished. I wanted it more from a collector standpoint. You can see the original chambers. Bracelet definitely has some wear. Clasp, it's hard to tell the polished and the brushed areas. So for this watch, I did not want it polished. But if I was say a watch dealer, and I had this a physical, like an actual brick and mortar store, and I had this sitting there, the average person walking in to buy the watch would never even look at They might glance at the watch just because the sunburst blue dial, and especially if it's in the sunlight, it'll have that kind of purple dial. But the average person would want this looking brand new when they walked out of the shop, especially spending over $20,000. So at that, for me, maybe selling it might be a bit tricky, getting the amount of money I want for it, but I would sell it hopefully to a purist, a more collector that respects it for that value of not being polished. And now this is the Tudor Black Bay. Just act as if this was a watch that was refinished. This has never been polished, but I don't have that stainless steel sub anymore, so I don't have an example to show you, but just act like these chambers were recut and it was all original to spec. And I just wanted a nice daily watch that was cleaned up, that I could wear as tool variant, as well as, I wouldn't wear it with a suit probably, but, a little bit more dressed up, polo, button down shirt type deal. And I think I would be okay with it having it if it was already finished and it was done correctly and the lugs were all even, and that would be okay to me. So I think it kind of really depends on the watch for me. Now, some people are legitimately anti-polished. They don't want their watches ever polished. And a lot of these guys, you're going to see their watches look like they don't have a single scratch on it. And I very, highly doubt they wear those watches on a daily basis like me. I wear this sub in the pool with my 22-month-old daughter. We, go out and do daily fun things. I wouldn't say I go and like hit baseball in like the batting cage or anything with this watch, but I wear this watch and I enjoy it and I don't really worry about it. And a lot of people aren't like that. So if it was me and I had a bunch of watches and I was never wearing them, it would be pointless to me. I don't think I would enjoy it. I wouldn't really love, like, you wouldn't really bond with the watch. So having some scratches to me is okay. And, especially if it's a watch that I don't want to get polished. But like, it's kind of a to each his own type of thing. If you want to get your watch polished, do your due diligence and make sure you're getting it done from somebody correctly. Make sure you check and ask for photos. Don't just take it to any mom and pop jewelry store and say that they're going to polish it for you, because I'm almost certain they're going to probably polish right over your chamfers if you still have them. They're going to eat your crown up on your clasp, and all those things take down value. But if it's done correctly and it looks good, it still cannot be listed as an unpolished watch, which kind of takes the value down, but I will say you'll probably be able to sell it faster because more people want the watch super clean when they're buying it, especially when they're spending excess of $5,000. But that's just my take on polishing and not polishing. I know I didn't give a direct answer, and I don't think there is a direct answer. It kind of depends on the watch, it depends on the collectability, and it depends on the market, and it depends on if you plan on selling it or not. So let me know what you think about polishing down in the comments, and thank you for joining me. And please like and subscribe and give me a follow at Watch Display.